You are Locked On Phillies Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. My name's Mark Farzetta. This Phillies Postcast is brought to you by Supply House, supplyhouse.com, the reliable way to get your parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at supplyhouse.com. And yes, welcome into this Philadelphia Phillies Postcast as part of the Locked On Sports Philadelphia Network here on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe so you can take part in all the fun-filled activities going on here on the all-new Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Also, Connor Thomas has plenty to go on there with the Locked On Phillies podcast. We have Keith Pompey handling all the business there with your 76ers offseason. We got our Eagles guys covering it like nobody else. As far as this game goes, I'm going to jump right into it. Let's get to three big things, and I am not happy about this. I don't like the fact that, let me just start off with this, that Taijuan Walker doesn't really appear to be really good at his job. My big point about him, and yes, he is number one here. My big point about Taijuan Walker in his last start, where he got rocked, was that I couldn't really blame him all that much. I couldn't be that mad at Taijuan Walker in his last start when the guys behind him, Alec Bohm being one of them, was really struggling in the field. Johan Rojas was struggling in the field. I couldn't really get mad at Taijuan Walker when guys behind him kept on giving the opposing offense, multiple opportunities to score more runs. So I couldn't be all that mad at Taijuan Walker. Tonight, I'm pissed at Taijuan Walker. He was throwing meatballs. Two things Taijuan Walker and I have in common today. We both made meatballs, except I didn't throw mine. You know what I'm saying? Taijuan Walker today was egregious from the mound. And when you watched him today, especially against Gorman, who started things off and then ended things for the Redbirds today, Gorman gets the home run on a 2-0 cutter that he left up in the zone. The Taijuan Walker left up in the zone, and he belted that pitch 367 feet right field. That ball just kept carrying, and Nick Castellanos tried tracking it into the corner, and it was 10 rows back down the right field line. So that was that, unfortunately. And just like that, it's a 2-0 game. Then the Phillies actually do him the favor. Garrett Stubbs helps out in the process here. And how about the Garrett Stubbs, my man. Garrett Stubbs. The Phillies are now 9-4 when Garrett Stubbs starts a game. They had won 5 in a row going into today. They lost. So it's not going to be 6 in a row for the Garrett Stubbs win streak starting for the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Phillies tied up there in the bottom of the second inning. Then right back in the third inning, Taijuan Walker's like, hey, guys, appreciate you tying things up here. I'm going to go and give up a home run to Burleson, which is exactly what he does. This time he actually battled in the count. It was a 3-2 sweeper. That this one was also left up in the zone. I felt like all night, well, I should say through the first 5 innings of tonight's game, I felt like Garrett Stubbs was doing power squats behind the plate. It would be calling for pitches down low, and then rising up real quick to try to catch a rising cutter, a hanging sweeper like this in the case of Burleson, Alec Burleson, who belted the second 2-run home run that was allowed by Taijuan Walker. His fastball looks flat. His sweeper hangs up. The cutter, let me use the cliche here, doesn't cut. These are definition meatballs out over the middle of the plate, top of the zone, middle top of the zone, that these guys are just whirling at and raking with. We know that the big problem, and they even talked about it on the broadcast tonight. Carl Ravitch was talking about this $70 million, a lot of money due to Taijuan Walker. And I was trying to be fair, and I always try to be fair. I don't even attempt to be fair. I attempt to be accurate, okay? And I'm looking at Taijuan Walker, and I'm saying, is it the fact that everybody else is just so damn good, or does Taijuan Walker really suck? Like, that's the thought I had going into tonight's ball game. First inning, 2-run home run, I'm like, it's not great. Not a great start. Not a great start. And then I look at it again there in the third inning, another 2-run home run, another pitch that was just hanging out over the middle of the plate in the danger zone, and it gets belted out of the ballpark again. This one, 405 feet to right field. Not great. So what do you do with Taijuan Walker? Do you just put him in the bullpen? Ranger Suarez, here's one of the best things we heard tonight, other than the crack of the bat from Bryson Stott driving in 2 runs, and we'll get to him. But one of the best things I heard tonight was that when Buster Olney was speaking to Ranger Suarez before tonight's game, Ranger said he feels good. Still don't know if he's going to miss his next start, which is actually said for the London series. But according to Buster Olney tonight, he said that Ranger Suarez and the Phillies are very encouraged with how Ranger Suarez responded from getting hit in the thumb by the line drive last night in last night's ball game. So that's the best thing I heard. After that, the best thing I heard was that Brandon Marsh, who was trying to hold up rounding second base tonight, did not. And as soon as they said it, I said, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. And I don't know who said it in the booth. I've grown up as a huge Carl Ravitch fan, so I hope it wasn't him. Somebody said Acuna. Somebody said, oh, we just saw this happen with Acuna. I was like, you shut your mouth. Talking about Brandon Marsh like that. How dare you? Because even though, like, the number one thing you're never supposed to do, ever, into a microphone is speculate about injury. You're never supposed to speculate about injury. There's a lot of other things you're not supposed to do. But speculating about injury is specifically low. You don't do that. So the minute they said Acuna, you're right, you go, what are we talking about? Oh, ACL. Stop it. Like, we know what you're implying. We know what you're putting out there into the ether. You're just not saying those little initials of ACL. You know what I'm saying? You're not putting that out there. You're putting it out there without putting it out there. And I said, you shut your mouth. Then they made sure to acknowledge the fact that the Phillies had said that Brandon Marsh had just pulled up lame when he was trying to round second base and on a Nick Castellanos single. He pulled up and grabbed the back of his legs for a hamstring. And the Phillies acknowledged it was a hamstring. Then the broadcast acknowledged it was a hamstring. So thank you very much for at least doing that. But anyway, back to Taijuan Walker being bad at his job. We all are on the same page here. There is nobody, any logical thinking human, that thinks the right decision, just based off what's the right decision and what's the wrong decision. There's no logical thinking, rational thinking Phillies fan, human, baseball fan that thinks putting Spencer Turnbull in the bullpen was a good idea. The only way and the only reason the Phillies did this, the only way they did it was because of money. The only reason they did it, they got the money. That's the only reason. When you make decisions strictly based on money, most of the times they don't work out the way you want them to, unfortunately. And that's what's going on right now with the Phillies and Taijuan Walker. And this is coming from a guy who, once again, defended him in his last start when he gave up, it was 3 runs. It was 5 runs, 5 earned runs, 6 runs in total, 9 hits against the San Francisco Giants. I defended him after that because the defense was garbage in that game. Tonight, no defense whatsoever for Taijuan Walker. Speaking of things that aren't that good at their job. So, Gregory Soto, just when we think we have an opportunity to get somebody like Gregory Soto, for instance, we have a guy like Orion Kirkering really emerging as a guy who can go in there and tie ball games in the 7th, 8th inning, whatever the case might be, go in there and really handle the business, and that's what he was able to do. I think it was in the 7th inning Strom got the 6th, he got the Orion Kirkering got the 7th. Then Hoffman, then Alvarado. You need one more guy. And we've all been talking about that one more guy. And I know we'd all love to go out and get like another Matt Strom, for instance, okay? But that's not going to happen because there's only one guy in the majors right now with like 22 consecutive scoreless innings, and that guy's name is Matt Strom. He's pretty good. When you go into this kind of thought process, you're really trying to make sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted. If you're talking about a guy who is going to take over the Gregory Soto role, then you're talking about a guy that is without question, a luxury. But with that being said, Gregory Soto has had his fair share of struggles throughout this season. And I know I am not the only person watching this Phillies team concerned whenever you see Gregory Soto come out there on the mound for the Phillies to really, in a point where the Phillies are really trying to rely on him. He's had a couple of instances where he has come through. I give him credit for that. But tonight, there were 2 separate occasions where he, without question, should have given up that first run. The first instance, Whit Merrifield went deep into the hole between second base and first base to make sure that run didn't score. I think it was Wynn there on second base. And then the time he actually gave up the run, which was the Gorman RBI single to left field. That, obviously, was supposed to happen. Merrifield bailed him out in the other one. So there were 2 instances that he should have allowed that run from second base. One time he did, the first time he did not, thanks to a great defensive play. And I just feel good about saying something great about Whit Merrifield. A great defensive play by Whit Merrifield. The next one, was a line drive RBI single to center field, that was just out of the reach of Whit Merrifield at second base. But other than that, you just see a guy in Gregory Soto who seems like he's getting barreled up right now by their opponents. It feels like, let's see, it's 3 now, 3 runs in his last 4 appearances. 3 runs in the last 5 appearances is not exactly a guy you can rely on. And I understand some of those instances, 2 now of those 3, are instances where you're relying on him in the later innings of ball game. Actually, in extra innings. He pitched an 11-inning game against the Rockies, and then he pitched tonight in a 10-inning affair with a runner in scoring position. Your team is depending on you big time to be able to slam the door. He wasn't able to do it tonight. The reason he's not number 1 after blowing a game essentially in the top of the 10th inning is because they do star a guy on second base. Something else you can't have in a game, and this brings me to number 3. Something else you can't have in a game. You can't have Bryce Harper, and as we learned today, Alec Bohm, also known as Raffy. You can't have those guys combined to go 0 for 10 in the game. Each one 0 for 5. Not great. And Bryce Harper, throughout the evening, was struggling big time from the plate. He was facing lefty after lefty and slider after slider. One was a sinker that he just swung over top of. He just looked lost. Alec Bohm seemed like he was making decent contact when he was making decent contact, just swinging under a couple of pitches. There was a pitch earlier in the game, I want to say it was the 2nd inning, where he just swung under a sinker and just popped it up to right center field. But other than that, not a lot to brag about with Alec Bohm or Bryce Harper. Anytime you have those guys go 0 for 10 in a ball game, you're going to have some problems. And again, I look at the box score, and I see the guys in the chunk of the order, the meat of the order. Bryson Stott was batting second today. We'll get to him in a second. But you see guys mostly at the bottom of the order really helping you out. What was amazing to me, and this is I had 2 really fun parts of the game. I really enjoyed these 2 parts of the game. The one instance there was in the 5th inning. Garrett Stubbs leads off by laying down a bunt. He reaches on an error. Next batter, Johan Rojas lays down a bunt, reaches on an error. Either way, you're leading off that inning with back-to-back errors, but you're also leading off that inning with back-to-back bunts. I can't remember the last time, if I've ever seen, the Phillies lead off an inning with back-to-back bunts. But here we are. They both get on base. They both reach by way of the error. That was a Lynn misplay there on the Garrett Stubbs bunt right back up the middle. And then Rojas lays down a bunt. That was a throwing error by Herrera, the Cardinals catcher, that pulled the first baseman off the back. Then Kyle Schwarber steps up. He gets another single, delivers to right field. You got the bases loaded all of a sudden, thanks to 2 bunts, 2 errors, and a single. Look at this. Bases loaded, nobody out. Bryce Harper was due up in the inning a little bit later, but Bryson Stott stepped up there, and Stott made just great contact, went with the pitch to left field, a 2-run single to left field. Stubbs scores, Rojas scores. It's now a 4-4 ball game. Lynn goes out of the game. Liberatore comes in there after that. Harper strikes out, looking lost as can be. This was an inning for the Phillies to really take advantage. They weren't able to do that. This is the game that Bohm, this is the inning that Bohm just swung under that pitch. I thought it was the 2nd inning. It was the 5th. He just swung under a cutter, just missed it, flew out to center field, and then Brandon Marsh struck out looking at a just picture-perfect 3-2 slider by Liberatore. I'll put stank on that, don't you think? Absolutely, I'm cultured. Anyway, but the Phillies couldn't get any more damage done in that inning, and they remained a 4-4 ball game, going into the 10th inning before Gorman got to Gregory Soto, and that's when the unfortunate events happened of the Cardinals winning the game. But it was rough. It was absolutely rough. And look, I don't want to go back to, hey, at least they won a series, but I will say at least they won a series. Now you got the Brew Crew coming into town, and we'll worry about that coming up in a second. But when we come back, I do want to talk about something that I've been praising Rob Thompson for, and he did it again with Bryson Stott. It worked for Nick Castellanos, and it seems like it might be working right now with Bryson Stott. Really, the events after today will really tell whether or not this will get Bryson Stott going. We'll talk about that in a second. You're Locked On Phillies, postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. We'll be back after this. You guys have heard me talking about Supply House, supplyhouse.com. Getting supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 of the top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast and free shipping when you are a member at supplyhouse.com. But you get that delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. If you need an elite order, they will help you out. Absolutely. When it comes to the supplyhouse.com, you can get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks and also talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get competitive edge. That's what you can get, that competitive edge, by joining supplyhouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, told you about that earlier, and discounts on every order. That's everyone for the Trade Master program. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. That's supplyhouse.com. Nick Castellanos, we're aware of the struggles he's had throughout this season. Could he be coming out of it now? He could be coming out of it now. Over his last 7 days, that 200 batting average that he's been around most of the season, he hit. It's not much. It's a step in the right direction. That's all I'm saying. 200, 250. Okay? 200, 210 for the season, 250 over the last 7 days. Not terrible. 250 for the last 7 days for Nick Castellanos is pretty damn good. It's a step in the right direction. You saw Nick Castellanos get another couple of hits tonight. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, if you remember in that San Francisco series with Nick Castellanos struggling mightily and Alec Bohm getting the day off in that series, he decided to move Nick Castellanos and his Mendoza line batting average to the cleanup spot. Now, what's happened since then? He's only put together a modest 5-game hitting streak. He's only had a couple of multi-hit games. He's already had a home run. With a guy struggling like Nick Castellanos, Rob Thompson said, yeah, I'm not moving him down in the order. I'm not giving him the day off. I'm going to challenge him. And I'm also going to show him that I got some confidence in him. You've been struggling all year. You've been really, really struggling to try to find some consistency. So guess what? You're going to bat cleanup. He got a hit in the game. Phillies didn't win the game. He wasn't particularly good in the game, but he got a hit. Ever since then, you're looking at that guy that has been a little bit more consistent at the plate. And you talk about just a modest hitting streak of 5-6 games. That's a great thing for Nick Castellanos. So why do I mention this? Bryson Stott, over his last 15 days, is hitting 125. Bryson Stott over the last week going into tonight, batting 0.95. Bryson Stott, the guy that we just love to go up there and we love to see him take hacks and we love to see him have those long at-bats of 8, 9, 10 pitches, get down to the count 0-2. Next thing you know, it's 3-2, and he's getting fastballs and he's driving them into the gaps. That guy, 0.095 in his last 7 games. JT Realmuto's out of the lineup tonight, gives him the day off. Garrett Stubbs behind the plate, and what ends up happening here? It wasn't Whit Merrifield batting second, thank goodness. It was Bryson Stott batting second. That's what Rob Thompson decided to do. Also, Edmundo Sosa getting the night off. Your 2-hole hitter tonight was Bryson Stott. Despite the struggles, Rob Thompson said, hey, go up there, get some hacks. Well, Bryson Stott made his manager, made his skipper look brilliant tonight by going up there and getting that big hit with that 2-run single that he had in the 5th inning to make sure this game got knotted up at least 4, and then still had ducks on the pond, still had runners in scoring position, and then Harper, Bohm, and Marsh went down in that inning 1, 2, 3. But at least he tied the game up. He also played phenomenally in this game defensively. No better example than in that 4th inning. Siani gets a 2-out single to right field. And then Wynn steps up and just belts a baseball. Sharp line drive. Crisply, hit to the shortstop position. Barely, really hitting the hole between short and third. And Bryson Stott lays out to his right, makes a spectacular diving catch at shortstop. You love to see it. And then the very next inning comes up with a big hit. Love to see it every single time from Bryson Stott. Does one necessarily help out the other? No, not necessarily. But to still see good production from a guy like Bryson Stott, both in the field and at the plate, that's a great thing. And I love that Rob Thompson actually did that with him tonight. I haven't checked the chat yet. I want to see what you guys are saying about this game. Let me jump into that and see how you guys are doing. Unfortunately, with the Phillies not able to get this. Oh, the second thing. How dare I? So Bryson Stott was the first thing that I loved seeing tonight. The second thing I loved seeing tonight was Jose Alvarado in the 8th inning. I know the 9th inning. I feel like we always say this in the sport of basketball. You know, the Tyrese Maxey game or the Mike Muscala game. Yeah, that's right. That kind of thing. The Jody Meeks game, right? How about the Jose Alvarado inning? Because that 9th inning was spectacular. Like, I haven't seen back-to-back bunts, and I haven't seen Jose Alvarado go anything above a slight walking pace. You know what I'm saying? So you see him get that first out of the inning on Carlson. He grounded out to Bryce Harper. Jose Alvarado knew it immediately. Left-handed pitcher finishing away from the plate, books it to first base just in time to record the out. And Bryce Harper goes, good hustle there, Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado goes back to the mound. Garrett Stubbs like, let me give you a breather, calls time, has a little mound conference. Jose Alvarado's like, I'm good, man. I do my cardio. And then Garrett Stubbs goes behind the plate. And then Jose Alvarado throws another pitch. This pitch, oh, baby, this one was nuts. This one was Ciani's bunt, grounded back to Alvarado. Alvarado's chasing it down the first base line, and with his mitt, shovels it to Bryce Harper to record the second out of the inning. They get the out, and Jose Alvarado, not only did he show his sprinting ability, he also showed his sheer athleticism, doing a little throwing a yes fist pump in the air and a pirouette throwing into it as well. The man is nimble, folks. You'll love that kind of passion from a late inning guy like that. So he's able to get the second out of the inning. And then I actually love that they reviewed this. It was the Wynn foul ball down the left field line that was ruled a foul ball. They agreed to do a crew chief review. It was, in fact, a foul ball. You gave Jose Alvarado an opportunity there to kick his feet up for a second, relax, catch his breath, and then the very next pitch that he threw, oh my goodness gracious, what a nasty, absolutely nasty, should be illegal cutter that he threw on a 3-2 pitch that just dominated. Absolutely. No, I'm sorry, wait, the cutter was the ball that was hit. I must have been too excited for Jose Alvarado. I didn't take the note. There it is, Win. It was a cutter. The final pitch of the at-bat was a cutter. Okay, so back-to-back cutters, and that's what he got him with on the 3-2 cutter. The second cutter was what he whiffed on. Fantastic. So, love to see that for Jose Alvarado. That was a lot of fun to watch him do that tonight. Now, let's get to the chat and see how you get chat check and see how you guys are doing. Sir Sketchable, Strom Dog Millionaire, love it. Absolutely love that. It's been fantastic. Kudos to him. Hells yeah. Phil feels like I'm rewatching the NLCS the way the top of the order is doing absolutely nothing. Ooh, that's a rough memory. Ari, congratulations. Blah, 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 blah. Your team was the better team tonight. Blah, 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 blah. You're welcome. Anyway. John Maros just said, Harp takes another collar. The only RBI came from Stott, Rojas, and old Stubby. Oh, Stubbs. Just easing the tension, baby. I know it's Chubbs, but anyway, I like to change it. John, this game was over when Thompson handed in that AAA lineup card. I mean, if Harper and Bohm are 0 for 10, I'm not blaming the other guys in this lineup. It's like if those guys go 0 for 10 in the same game where, as you just mentioned, Stott got you 2 RBIs, Rojas got you an RBI ground out, Stubbs got you an RBI. If those are the guys that are actually getting you RBIs and Harper and Bohm are 0 for 10, then yeah, I ain't happy about that. That's where my focus goes. IBH, what's going on? Good evening. Crazy. DFA those bums, Walker and Soto now. Not really a good evening, but all right, I got you. Have a good show. I can't listen to how badly they blew the game. Well, that's where we have some fun. You know what I'm saying? Particularly Schwarber and Harper can't win them all. Yeah. The lefties tonight really struggled. Schwarber at least had a hit. Stott had a 2-run single. Harper and Bohm killed him tonight. Look, I'm not expecting Taijuan Walker to go out there and give you 6 scoreless. 5 innings and 4 runs. That's a healthy dose of not being good. But I also don't expect Harper and Bohm to go for 10. Morgan Landy, what's going on? Walker blows. There you go. I see him getting replaced by a trade at midseason or a call up from the minors. What do you think, Farzetta? I agree. I don't think he's in the rotation at the end of the year. Like if you're talking about your playoff rotation, like here's what's crazy to me. And I know this isn't all on Rob Thompson when he's a big money guy. You better believe that Dave Dombrowski is in this conversation, if not leading the conversation. Sam Fold is in the conversation. And Rob Thompson obviously is in the conversation. Taijuan Walker, the contract wasn't any different last year. Taijuan Walker, one of the major league leaders in wins, didn't pitch in the postseason. Christopher Sanchez had more time in the postseason than Taijuan Walker. Like, I can understand a business perspective. You got the best record in baseball. You're in first place. Things look great. All that. I can understand. All right, well, let's see if Taijuan Walker can work it out. He's going to get some more starts to try to work it out. In the meantime, we're just going to wait with bated breath to get Spencer Turnbull in there. And as far as trading him, if he doesn't produce, if he doesn't turn it around, Morgan, then unfortunately, the Phillies are going to be stuck with him. They're going to be stuck with sitting him on the bench in the playoffs again. Can we please be done with Taijuan Walker experiment now? It's time for Turnbull to have a slot now. I wish. I hope that's the case. It's going to take a long time for the Phillies to come around on that. It's going to have to be a lot more struggles. I'm old enough to remember when Whit Merrifield could hit a baseball, says John Marinelli. He's been so bad. So bad. You can only move on from one. Are you moving on from Taijuan Walker or Whit Merrifield? And just on account of tonight, Gregory Soto. You can only move on from one. Dave Dombrowski's like, I got to cut one guy. Who is it? Do you go Walker? Do you go Merrifield? Where do you go? Start Spence. Thank you, Max Mayer. I agree. Oh, we're all clowns. Like, I didn't know one person that was like, Whit Merrifield sucks. Everyone's like, oh, professional hitter. Could play second base, could play third, maybe first, and then play in the outfield. This will be great. I keep going back into it. And I know I've mentioned it many times before, but I keep going back to it. I keep going back to it with Whit Merrifield. And what he said was great. And it wasn't even what he said. It was what Rob Thompson said, what Whit Merrifield said. Whit Merrifield told Rob Thompson, yeah, it's going to be my job to make you have more confidence in me and giving me more at-bats. So far, not the case. John, we all liked it. Edward Guzik, yeah, maybe Walker should go in the bullpen and Turnbull back to the rotation. Yeah, I'm 100% on board with that. Joseph Klinger, Merrifield and Taijuan exhaust me. Me as well. Joseph Klinger, Alvarado's athletic inning was not capitalized on. That was pretty athletic. That's pretty athletic. You guys are the best. Sir Sketchable, for one shining moment, Alvarado was an elite athlete, and Soto blew it. We need one shining moment. We need that song. We need that song with Jose Alvarado. Can you picture it? I can picture it. One shining moment. And just doing that thing, you know? That was my 80s rock band song. That's my voice. Sorry. Alvy was so entertaining, says Buddy Christ. Yeah. Almost swept them back to winning ways on NBC Sports Philly. Yeah, man. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful, as per usual. When we come back, take a look at where the Phillies are headed after this, and I have to jump on this because when he said this, it actually pissed me off. We'll talk about it in a second when we return. You're Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on Locked On Sports Philadelphia's YouTube channel. Quickly growing, another big flood-in of subscribers. So we appreciate that. Thank you. Well, back in a second. Put a bow on the show, as well as when this guy said this, I was rather pissed. Hey, but you know what I'm not pissed about? I'm not pissed about how absolutely incredible Prize Picks is. Prize Picks is a great time. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. It is the most fun and exciting way to get in all the action when you talk about playing your favorite daily fantasy sports. Favorite players, whatever the case might be, is the best way to get in on all the action at Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. I lost. Bryce Harper, more than 1 hit. Alec Bohm, more than 1 hit. I took the L today. That doesn't mean you will, but I did. Regretting that right now. But yeah, that's all you got to do is pick more or less. More on hits, more on innings, more on strikeouts, less on home runs, less on runs, whatever the case may be. You just pick more or less on Prize Picks. With Prize Picks, you could earn $10 you could turn $10 into $1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. How great does that sound? You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less on 2 to 6 players on their stat projections, and you're locked in. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week, from lowering select player stats projections on Tuesdays, which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Download the app today. Use promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's LOCKEDONMLB at prizepicks.com for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's just that easy with the incredible people of Prize Picks. A while back, Rhys Hoskins was doing an interview, and he was asked about the reception he's going to get from the Philadelphia fan base. He said he thinks he's going to get booed. Rhys Hoskins, for some dumb reason, became a huge lightning rod player here in Philadelphia. Maybe because he was the only guy that we looked at for a number of years while the Phillies were on their slightly uptick after the Utley, Howard, Rollins, Hamels era, Victorino era of the Philadelphia Phillies. Maybe he was the first shining, glimmering hope that actually started really hitting at the major league level. Maybe that the incredible historic start to his career, 11 home runs in 18 days. Maybe that set the expectations too high. But Rhys Hoskins, make no mistake about it, is going to get a standing ovation. Every team that is turning it around from one group of players to another that might be able to help you win, Rhys Hoskins was the first in helping this team transition away from the god-awful years of the post-08, 09, 2010, 2011 team and get back on track, at least, to having somebody that you can look forward to going to the ballpark and see and hit. Through the end of the Pete Mackanin era, the Gabe Kapler era, the beginning of the Joe Girardi era, the beginning of the Rob Thompson era, there was Rhys Hoskins. And he was right there. And I always give him credit. Anytime I approached him in the clubhouse, anytime I approached him if he was doing an event and I had a chance to talk to him, he talked to us. No matter how bad the team was doing, he just talked to us. He realized what he was, which was the new face of the organization. Bryce Harper got here, new face. But as far as a guy that really came up with this team and through this team, helped this team get to a World Series, was a huge part of that. The bat spike, obviously. Taunting the Mets. Oh, my goodness. Oh, just love it. Oh, could eat it up with a spoon. There's no way he gets booed. he gets a standing ovation when he steps into the batter's box in this series that's coming up here starting tomorrow night against the Milwaukee Brewers. That is what's going on tomorrow night. That's where the Phillies head tomorrow when they're back at it against the Milwaukee Brewers after taking 2 of 3 from the St. Louis Cardinals. Tomorrow, they got Zach Wheeler on the hill against Bryce Wilson. Wilson comes into this game 3-1 on the season with a 3.19 ERA. He is a right-handed pitcher. He is 26 years old. He's coming off a start where he lasted just 4 innings, allowing 4 runs, 3 of them earned on 6 hits and did give up a home run, as he's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 4 starts. As for Zach Wheeler, he'll be back on the bump for the Phillies tomorrow, looking to get that ERA even lower than the 2.32 ERA that he's at right now. His 6-3 record sits pretty well there in Major League Baseball, tied for 10th. He is coming off a 6 scoreless inning performance in what unfortunately was a losing effort by the Phillies. It was the 1-0 game that ended in 10 innings. He went 6 scoreless, allowing just 2 hits and 2 walks and striking out 9 in those 6. So he hopes to get back on the winning track. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys hit like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you guys check out all that Connor Thomas has to offer you on Locked On Phillies podcast here on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel and Locked On Sports family. My name is Mark Farzetta. Great hanging out with you guys. Be back with you guys tomorrow night following this series opener against the Milwaukee Brewers, and we look to report exactly what happened when Rhys Hoskins stepped to the plate. My guess is 30-second standing ovation. That's something I'm going to say. I'll even go 20 to 30-second standing ovation for Rhys Hoskins. There'll be allowed time for him to step out of the batter's box, little hat tip to the crowd, and then right back in it, baby. And then Zach Wheeler throws it his head. Kidding. All right, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Be back with you guys tomorrow night. See you then. Bye.